All right, so Jay, sticking with the NFL, there was another big-time football game in the NFL week 2. Involved the Cowboys, which any game that the Cowboys play, doesn't matter. It could be the Cowboys versus the Jags, is going to be one of the matchups over the weekend that's going to give us something interesting, something entertaining. People are going to care about it because of how big the brand is. So they were in L.A. to face the Chargers at SoFi Stadium, which I believe is the first time that the Chargers have played a quote-unquote home game with actual fans.
Outside of the preseason, this is.
Yeah. So the Dallas was able to, was this a last-second field goal? They were able to triumph a 56-yarder?
56-yarder by Zerline.
By Greg the Leg to win the game 22-17. So given that the Cowboys essentially played for the field goal, Jay, should we be concerned about the Cowboys playing for the field goal?
Oh, yeah. Their offense was not – it wasn't what we saw against Tampa Bay, which is, of course, the reason why I complained, because I had played Dak Prescott thinking I was going to get the same Dak Prescott that he played that Thursday night. He had a whole bunch of extra days for this game to prepare for. But no, 23 for 27, 237, and an interception. He didn't even throw a touchdown. That's not good. Now, the one thing I will give mad props to this Cowboys team is their defense is way better than I expected. And they're getting even better. Trayvon Diggs, he's going to be a star.
Lethal.
He's going to be a top 10 corner maybe by the end of the season. He's ridiculous. The way that he played Evans and then the way that he just shadowed Keenan Allen. They might have something here. Keenan Allen had 4 catches for 108?
Is that what he had?
Yeah, I still think that Diggs is something special.
Let's see, I can find. 8 targets, so 50% completion to him. 4 for 108. Okay.
Yeah, so they did a good job of trying to contain him. I mean, at 108, it's not something you can stop. And then Justin Herbert, of course, just ate that defense alive. But they still could only muster 17 points, which is a big deal. That's a big enough deal in itself. I mean, he threw for 338, a touchdown and 2 picks. So they got 2 turnovers. So they got the bakery going. That's what you want. You want your defense to get turnovers like that. And I think the Cowboys are up there in turnovers this season. They've actually done a really good job of forcing turnovers. And that's what you want out of this team. So the defense is doing something that I didn't expect them to do. The offense, of course, did not show up the way I expected them to, which hurts me this week in my fantasy league, which is really why I'm really upset about it. But I'm going to get off that soapbox. There should be probably a little bit of concern about the fact that they couldn't move against the Chargers.
Now, Cowboys fans, what I typically do is always try to tell you the truth about your team. And usually the reason why I do that, just outside of the fact of telling you what I see, is to help you to be grounded, to stay with your feet planted on the earth, instead of believing, like I always say, that your team's going to go 17-0 and you're going to win the Super Bowl 75-0. So I always tell the truth about this team from what I see. This is one of the best games this Dallas Cowboys team has played in a long time. This is one of the best wins this Dallas Cowboys team has had in a long time.
Word? We doing that?
We doing that. Here's the reasons why. First reason, we already mentioned this. They won despite mismanagement by their coaching. Mike McCarthy, in very Mike McCarthy-ish fashion, no one was surprised by this, at the fact that because of his, failure to adapt to difficult circumstances in the waning moments, forcing Greg the Leg to, if he had not made the field goal, it still would have been tied, so you might have had a chance in overtime, but forcing them into a 56-yard field goal, which no team wants to do. No coach wants to do that to their team if they can avoid it. But despite that, they still found a way to nail the field goal, win this game. You're on the road. Second thing, you're on the road. Even though this was more of a kind of a home road sort of hybrid for the Cowboys, it's still not.
Yeah, it did feel like a home-ish
because they have a lot of fans. Because in Oxnard, California, is not too far away from where they train during training camp.
That's true.
So, but still a road game, still with fans, lots of them against you, and they were able to win that game.
Chargers don't have real fans.
Yep. And you already mentioned this, holding a real Pro Bowl offense to 17 points, where the quarterback has over 338 yards, where Keenan Allen and Mike Williams eat, fairly decently, where the run game was 5.0 yards a carry, but you still found a way. That's called a bend but don't break performance. And you can win a lot of football games like that in the NFL when you're forcing threes instead of sevens, instead of allowing sevens.
That's true.
So your defense played a real Pro Bowl defense and showed just exactly how good they could potentially be. Matter of fact, in this game, since they don't have Tank Lawrence for the next 2 months, they slid Micah Parsons into the defensive end position.
Yeah.
I haven't seen his stats, but just the fact that he's good enough in his second professional regular season game to slide down to defensive end, to me, is impressive.
He had 8 pressures. But the thing about it is, I think he played defensive end in like high school.
Did he?
I think at little portions of college he experimented with it. So when they asked him about it, he said, "Oh yeah, it was natural. It's a natural fit for me."
He's just a defensive weapon.
He's ridiculous
because he even has coverage skills outside of guarding a team's number one receiver on the outside. He can do just about anything on the field. So again, that's a huge part of the reason why they were able to hold this offense to 17 points. Second thing, you relied on the run. Dallas wins more games when they rely on the run. As a matter of fact, you established, or you should have established for yourself, the fact that Tony Pollard can be the lightning to Zeke's thunder. Because in this game, probably Tony Pollard's one of his best games as a Cowboy. Let's see, 13 carries for 109 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
They had no answer for him.
Zero. I mean, what is your answer to stopping somebody just run? Now, and that's my complaint about them only scoring 20 points in this game.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously could run the ball well. Tony Pollard scored the first touchdown. Zeke scored the second one. So they were able to get runs in. Why weren't you doing more of that?
Still, this is the recipe, like how they do in Cleveland, how you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
Right.
And you design more of the game plan around. And we know that Dak can throw for 450 yards, but when he has to do that, it's usually not a good situation.
Right.
So that leads to...
At the same time, though, man, you've got some ridiculous set of wide receivers in Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz. I mean,
But for a quarterback who dealt with a shoulder issue in training camp, having him throw 27 times, that's a W. Now, I understand for fantasy purposes and the fact that he didn't throw for any touchdowns, that does suck, especially the game that he had against the Buccaneers.
Correct.
But long term, if you got Dak throwing 27 times instead of 57 times and you win the game, that's a much bigger W than it looks in the stat sheet. And when he did throw those 27 times, he had 7 different wide receivers.
He did.
So a big part of what that means is that it was a well-rounded scheme. The play calling was well-rounded. It didn't just focus on CeeDee Lamb, who's becoming a star, or Amari Cooper, who's a really, really good, really solid wide receiver. So he's spreading the ball around. That's good. And that's one of the things I love about Dak. He doesn't necessarily key in on one receiver. Most games he doesn't. He spreads it around. So
and that was kind of like the beef I think that Dad's kind of had with him a little bit. It's like, dude, just throw him the ball.
And then they got him out of town.
Yeah, and there's a few times, though, he should have thrown that ball.
So all that combined, they can do all these things moving forward. Your defense can continue to improve because you have 2 stars already. Trayvon Diggs is going to be a star. You're right. And Micah Parsons is going to be a star as well. You get Tank Lawrence back, who's a good edge rusher when he's motivated.
Yeah.
Then you have every level of your defense has a great player or potentially great player. So
that is true.
Yeah.
That would be at all 3 levels.
Right. So Cowboys fans should wake up feeling really good today, feeling really comfortable because you see some recipes in here for sustained success over these next 15 games. So I love this win for the Cowboys.
You were up 14-3 in the first quarter, and then you just didn't do anything into the fourth when you got 2 field goals.
That's okay.
That's concerning to me. You scored in your first 2 possessions basically, and you couldn't score anymore.
So you said they went up 14-3 in
the first quarter.
In the first quarter?
Yes.
Okay.
Zeke ended the first quarter with the touchdown.
So they end the game, 6-14, but still managed to win the game. Okay. I understand. They didn't blow up the stat sheet. This was an ugly win. This was the Cowboys don't like to win this way because it doesn't look good. But I'm telling you, that's exactly what they need. They need to win more games like this because in the playoffs, you're going to have more games like this.
You're right? I'll give you that portion of it. I'm still concerned that the offense looks like it's not getting itself up and running. I said, they ran the ball great in the beginning. Yeah. They should have just kept pounding away and then going over the top because you have such great receivers. Now, I understand the secondary for the Chargers pretty good. You know, Chris Harris Jr. I can't think of the other guy on the other side off the top of my head. I have to look that up. But they've got,
Who, Chargers defense?
Yes.
I mean, you got Bosa, you got Derwin James Jr., who's back and healthy, one of the best safeties in the game. Yep.
You got
K. Murray.
Yep. Yeah. Kenneth Murray. You got Chris Harris Jr. Their defense is not bad. They got a little age to them, but they're still young.
Mm-hmm. But
I expected Dallas to actually. I expected this game to be a shootout. because Dallas' defense is supposedly not very good. I think that was the thing that jumped out, like I said, the most to me is that their defense was actually a lot better.
Typically with Dallas, it is a shootout, but you want to be able to win games like this, and they won this game again, despite their coach being himself. They were still able to take all these positives that I outlined clearly and won this game.
Playing for a field goal because
so Cowboys Nation, don't listen to mute whenever he's talking and then just listen to me because I'm going to make you feel good about yourself. I'm going to make you feel good about your team. And then I'll probably tell you to shreds next week. But still, you have a lot to feel good about. So let them live, Jay. Let them feel good for one week before the bottom falls out. No? All right. Who is their next game? Do you know?
I don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll let you have that. Cowboys fans, listen to him.
The Eagles.
Y'all are good. They're traveling to Philly too, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they got them at home.
They got them at the house. They got them at Cowboy Stadium.
That's going to be a bit of an ugly game, though. Hold on.
Ugly.
Yeah, 27. Oh, that's Monday night. That's a Monday night game.
Ooh.
Okay. It's going to be an ugly one, but you're going to win it.
And we'll see.